This video is brought to you by Aaron Clary, author of The Curse of the High IQ, all of our wonderful fans on Patreon, and viewers like you. Thank you. The audio you're about to hear was recorded the other day, so the numbers aren't going to be as accurate as they currently are, so I tacked on this opening of the video. And if you're a patron, you've already heard this audio. This is me talking about the score of Solo and why I think it failing does no good for Star Wars. The reason I didn't go back and re-record everything is because I still feel that the same message is the same message. No matter what the score of Solo currently sits at Rotten Tomatoes, I still have the same opinion. So as I said, it seems out of date, but that's why this bumper is here. Also, make sure you stick around to the end.
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
So yesterday I attempted to make a video to discuss the Rotten Tomatoes score of Solo: A Star Wars Story, and it was about 17 minutes long and I hated it. It didn't go anywhere, it meandered, so here's take two. So the Tomatoes score for Solo: A Star Wars Story has come out, and it's currently sitting at a 73%. Now I'm surprised with this number because it's Disney Star Wars, and you know nothing less than 100% is good enough for Disney Star Wars. Or is this all part of the plan? You see, according to the Joker,
it's not about money. It's about sending a message. Everything burns.
So they're using Solo as a sacrificial lamb. Now, if this all seems weird to you, what I'm trying to say is, the Solo scores are genuine. I believe that. And they're being used to play up The Last Jedi. What do I mean? Well, The Last Jedi, there's obviously some disconnect between the fans and the critics. I'm not saying that the critics were paid cash, but I'm saying that it was slightly implied that they should highly rate The Last Jedi out of fear, out of the chance that they may lose their spot at the table, or their premiere access, all kinds of things that might happen to them if they didn't give the movie the praise that Kathleen Kennedy and company at Lucasfilm think it deserved. You had places like Collider, Screen Junkies, places that have something to lose, build up this film and praise it. And it caused a lot of people to lose faith in them as a company or as reputable critics. So, over the last 6 months, we've been discussing the fact that Collider and Screen Junkies are just a bunch of Hollywood shills that are jabronis that can't get real acting work. So what they do is they toe these company lines to get jobs and have access to the outskirts of Hollywood. If there's a Z-list in Hollywood, they're like 10 steps below Kathy Griffin. So what do they do to counteract this hate to try to save face and rebuild their credibility? They try to give this movie an average score, a 73%, which puts it in line with a film like Avengers: Age of Ultron. And you know what? I think Age of Ultron is an alright film. Not perfect, not terrible, but good and entertaining. That's what I'm hoping for with Solo: A Star Wars Story. Because for as much as I critique Star Wars, at the end of the day, I want to be entertained. I want to have a good time at the movie. But at this point, I don't expect that. So Disney has to get the message that their weird social engineering isn't working. But they refuse to believe that. They refuse to accept the fact that people didn't like Rian Johnson's experiment. That Rian Johnson was a bad choice for Star Wars. That Kathleen Kennedy made a bad decision by hiring Rian Johnson, and the damage to Star Wars is irreparable. You see, J.J. Abrams tricked a lot of people, duped them if you will, into believing that Star Wars is back, nostalgia's here, blah blah blah. But he forgot to pay attention to the people who have a working brain, who saw through the lies, who saw through the deception, who saw that The Force Awakens is essentially a New Hope with a shittier coat of paint. If a New Hope is a Ferrari with a perfect paint job, then The Force Awakens is a Chrysler LeBaron with spray paint on the side. Shitty in every conceivable way. So then we had this weirdo come in, Rian Johnson, and make The Last Jedi something that no one wanted to see. It was a weird take on trying to mix Star Wars and politics. And every Star Wars show out there from Hello Greedo to Star Wars Explained has defended this. Why? Well, it's because they want to be celebrities. They want to elevate themselves. They want to get in real good with the people at Lucasfilm. It's their wet dream to go to be flown to Lucasfilm out in California and walk around the hallways and see the Star Wars shit and get their YouTube views up. But it's my wet dream for people like that to shut the fuck up and accept a failure when they see one. A la The Last Jedi. So the last 6 months have been an uphill battle between people like us, Ethan Van Sciver, Geeks and Gamers, all channels like that are trying to help people see through the garbage. Now, you can like The Last Jedi. It's not verboten. It's not that I won't interact with people that like the film. Hell, I had a conversation with a guy at GameStop the other day that thought it was the best Star Wars movie. I ultimately left the store without buying anything, but I didn't say anything rude to him. But it's those shill channels and those people that have something to lose that are afraid to give their honest opinions, and I can't trust them. And trust is an important thing. And you're probably asking yourself, how can you not trust it's their opinion that they love this movie? Well, every critic that wants to defend this film uses the phrase, it subverted your expectations, you have to let the past die, X, Y, and Z, insert generic thing here. It's like a game of Mad Libs, except they all use the same words. It almost seemed like collusion between the critics and Disney/Lucasfilm. You know, a lot of money was sunk into The Last Jedi. A lot of things were staked on The Last Jedi. Plus, we had the debacle with Lucasfilm and EA last year with Star Wars Battlefront 2. So 2017 was a really rocky year for Star Wars. And I think that the Solo score being low is an attempt to regain fan trust and brand loyalty. And from a business standpoint, that makes sense. But as we've learned over the last few years, you can't trust Disney Lucasfilm. There's always some weird, nefarious plot. It's never about making a story that people are going to like and that maybe it turns a few people off in the fringe minority. This is a story of pissing on the fan base, trying to take their money through nostalgia, and then actively shitting on them every step of the way. If people weren't happy, there wouldn't be channels out there like this that critique modern Star Wars. If we were this weird fringe minority, no one would watch any videos. But what we are is a group of concerned individuals who are just trying to draw attention to this. Here's a hypothetical situation. Let's say Kathleen Kennedy gets incentives based on the performance of The Last Jedi at the box office as well as critical reception, because it's a well-known fact that video game publishers get a bonus if their Metacritic scores reach a certain level. So Kathleen Kennedy lays it on thick and can take it off as expenses. Critics get invited here. They get bonus access to this and to that, all these great things. They have a great time. They go out and they have fun, and then they realize, oh, well, The Last Jedi is a movie, but I had a fantastic time on this trip, so it's a perfect film. Conflict of interest, folks. And when grilled for answers, all these critics say is, it's inclusionary, it's important for the future of film. It's important to have women in these roles and minorities in these roles, X, Y, and Z, insert mumbo jumbo. And yeah, it's important to treat people of every color and every race equal, but what's even more important is to tell a good story. Because during that space battle, it wasn't important to me that there was a black dude, an Asian guy, a brown chick, a white guy, blah, 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 all flying the ships. I was concerned with why they were doing it and how dumb the space bombers looked. You see, they think we live in this woke world where Star Wars fans are so concerned with the politics of Star Wars behind the scenes that they're just going to let the film be shit and they're going to let it coast by on their good intentions. Well, clearly we're not. The repeat customer viewing has gone down significantly. $750 million. And when people critique the film for not liking the story, lack of logic, disrespecting Luke Skywalker, etc., we're met with racist, sexist, and bigot. Now, I'm only going back to bring this up to get you guys in the mindset to help you see why I'm saying what I'm saying about the Solo scores. Again, I'll lay it out. I think these Solo scores are genuine. I think it makes people look like, hey, I can be critical of Star Wars. I can give it a bad score. I'm an honest guy. But their honesty is being used dishonestly. I know that seems kind of weird to say it like that, but think of it like this. What do we always say about Collider here on World Class Bullshitters? They're a bunch of shills, a bunch of douchebags. People don't like them because all they do is toe the company line and kiss ass, just like the Nerdist, just like Screen Junkies, just like all these people out there that have something to lose. All these internet entertainment companies that happen to be owned by other companies. Like I said in the Nerdist video, they're owned by Legendary Entertainment, the people that made The Dark Knight. So they're not exactly this rogue group of individuals giving out critiques and trying to make a name for themselves. They work in Hollywood, and Hollywood always protects its own. And these people out there know the damage they've done by kissing Disney's ass. I'm not saying that their numbers have dropped significantly, but they have to know what's being said about them. They've had to at least have heard some of the comments being said about them in videos like this. And they don't like it, of course. Nobody wants to have shit talked about them. But nobody's really lying about them in these videos. We're just bringing them to task. We want them to be honest. And goddammit, I want an explanation to why The Last Jedi has a 90+% score and this thing has a 73% score. Do I think this film could accurately be a 73%? Probably is. It's not even a laughing matter at this point. There's no reason to go, oh, it's a failure. Oh, Kathleen Kennedy's getting fired. You know what? That chick's only going to get fired if Episode 9 underperforms and if the merchandise and the shit just sits on shelves for the next 18 months. It's funny to make these videos about how, they're melting down at Lucasfilm. But I don't think it's necessarily a meltdown as much as it is a slow reassurance that things are going badly. It's kind of like that scene in Toy Story 3. You know what? Let's compare Star Wars to Toy Story 3. So remember the hubris that Grand Moff Tarkin had about evacuating our moment of triumph? I think you overestimate their chances, or chances if you're Peter Cushing. Remember that his ego and hubris was his downfall. He had a chance to escape, but he didn't. So when the Death Star blew up, boom, he was dead. Put out of his misery. Right now at Lucasfilm, it's a lot like Toy Story 3 in the incinerator scene. All the toys are going down into the incinerator, they look at each other, they hold each other's hands knowing that the end is near. Now in the film, they get saved at the last minute by the little aliens, the claw people, but in real life, Kathleen Kennedy and the story group over at Lucasfilm, anyone she's ever hired, is just going to slowly sink into the fire. And they know it's happening. They can't stop it. They've made bad mistakes. Their ego has gotten the best of them. They think that they're untouchable. They think that their woke ways are the future of entertainment. But billions of people across the world don't give a shit about that stuff. Like they say in Star Trek, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And those few people need to realize that they're on the wrong side of history. The people that dislike these movies aren't racist, they're not sexist, they're not hate-filled white men. What they are is people with valid concerns about bad storytelling. And then there are people like me that are concerned with the truth and the honesty behind these things. Because if the world loves this film the way that they love to act like they do, people would be buying up the merchandise and things would be flying off the shelves. I've heard from an inside source, which I can't share on this video, that Hasbro knows that the Star Wars brand isn't what it used to be. But they care about it. And that's nice that they care about it, but Lucasfilm doesn't. And now we're in this really weird gray area where half the audience wants Star Wars to disappear for a while, and the other half wants Star Wars to disappear permanently. The old saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder, is the perfect phrase to describe Star Wars today. We need time to let the pain die and go away. But then 6 months later, we're being force-fed another garbage Star Wars product. Is there a chance this movie's great? Probably. No, I'm going to go back and say no. This movie's probably passable at best. But it's going to be used as an example for Kathleen Kennedy to say, hey, nobody likes these male characters. The female-led ones are the ones that make all the money. People don't like the old characters. It's the new characters that people love. That's why you get garbage like The Last Jedi pull on StarWars.com, where they're trying to stack it and say, hey, everybody loves The Last Jedi. It's the fans' favorite film. No, it's not. It's just that weird douchebag at GameStop's favorite film. And he's like 15 years old, and once he sees other movies, he'll realize, this isn't that good. And it's just all part of their doubling down effort. Like, I really want to know why Kathleen Kennedy is as woke as she is. Who is she trying to impress? The young girls that work for her at Lucasfilm? The young guy that goes and gets them their coffee? Like, Steve in accounting doesn't give a shit about the woke nature of Star Wars. Florence at HR doesn't care about that either. They care about bonus checks and their families. But Kathleen Kennedy and her weird cult are, and we all suffer from that. So, remember folks, boycotting Solo does jack shit for the cause of Star Wars. If anything, it hurts it, because it gives them an excuse not to visit the original era, which may be good or bad in your opinion, I don't know. But it also gives them reasons not to make Star Wars films for everybody. If it's The Last Jedi that makes all the money and gets all the praise, then they're going to want to make stuff to make more money, and then you'll get more Star Wars films like that. If you don't see Solo, that's fine. But I implore you, don't see Episode 9. Let Disney know. Now. The film hasn't even started shooting yet. Let them know daily on Twitter. I don't want to see Star Wars Episode 9. Hashtag boycott Episode 9. Don't hashtag boycott Solo, because it's the wrong message. It's nice to listen to Ethan talk about how Solo sucks and all that stuff. That's fine. He can have his own opinion. But remember, folks, if you really want to help fix Star Wars the way I think you all do, boycotting Solo is only funny and doesn't serve much of a purpose. Write your letters to Lucasfilm. I gave you the information. I gave you access to them. Tell them directly. Tweet them directly. All you gotta say is, we're tired of the weird garbage that was The Last Jedi, and Episode 9 better not be this bad, because I'll be done with Star Wars forever. So that's it for my little rant. 73% is fine for Solo: A Star Wars Story. That's a C+? No, that's just a C. And that's what it probably is going to be, because honestly, when I go back and watch Rogue One, that movie is probably a C for me as well. If we're going to rank Star Wars, the first two are A+. Return of the Jedi is a strong B. The prequels range from C to F. And if there's anything below an F, that's what The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi get. Tell me what you would rank Star Wars. Tell me your thoughts on Star Wars, and tell me your thoughts on this Solo: A Star Wars Story rating. I think a lot of people are reading into it the wrong way, and I've reiterated it many times in this video. I just want to make a point to you. Once again, I'll lay it out so my words don't get misconstrued. These scores are probably genuine, but it's a lie. It's deception to make you think that every score these people have ever given you is genuine. So we all are supposed to calm down and trust and respect the colliders and screen junkies of the world, the double toasteds, all those people that really don't rate a film on its quality, but on its intention. You know, if we were all graded on intention in school, everyone would have straight A's and the world would be full of idiots. Well, the world is full of idiots, but there would be less educated idiots, and that's never a good thing. So if you liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it all over the internet if you can. You know what? You can. You have the power. I believe in you. Join our Facebook page. We're about 1,000 strong. It's a fun conversation to be had 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. There's not a day that goes by that the World Class Bullshitters Facebook page is not filled to the brim with entertainment. Speaking of entertainment, if you like our brand of entertainment and you want more, join our Patreon page. $1 a month goes a long way, and you get content you will never get here on YouTube. You get an extra podcast, you get commentaries, you get roundtables, you get stuff we can talk about without YouTube's weird restrictions. But if you can't afford that, not a problem. Just make sure you subscribe to this channel for more content all the time. Thank you for watching, and remember, folks, if it looks like shit and it smells like shit, it's probably Kathleen Kennedy. And now here we are, about 5 days away from Solo: A Star Wars Story, and the tomato meter's at 71%, with 50% of the audience wanting to see the film. It's a big drop in quality. Now, I gotta wonder if guys like Ethan Van Sciver's channel has caused this to drop. I know people are very angry with this film. There's a very militant feeling towards it, and that's fine. Disney Star Wars has done this to themselves. It's not like they've created this great family entertainment that a weird group of old guys are just pissed off over. No, they're now doubling down, and later in the week I'm going to talk about it. Thank you to Jon Kasdan, who doesn't even belong in Star Wars. Well, his dad created some iconic Star Wars moments, and now he feels entitled to do whatever he wants to do, and this is exactly the damn problem. This is the problem with Solo. This is the problem with Star Wars. This is the problem with Hollywood and Disney. Your average, everyday person doesn't care about these things. And people are angry. They're not angry at women. They're not angry at minorities. They're not angry at any type of minority. What they're mad at is a group of people that have a lot of power, that abuse it, and ruin legacy and history. You know, everyone wants to complain about George Lucas and the special edition of Star Wars. Disney is doing something worse than the special edition of Star Wars. Han Solo may have stepped on Jabba the Hutt's tail and had some awful CGI, but Disney has now ruined Han, killed him, made him a terrible character, taken away all of his heroic qualities, cast him to be played by a shitty actor. You've ruined Lando, they've ruined Luke. You can't really ruin Chewbacca because he's now Rey's sidekick and they can't have anything negative associated with that character. It's a weird situation to be in right now. I think this movie has a lot of people really wanting it to fail. More so than the people that want to see it succeed. With all the information come out, I think this movie is going to be hurt. I just hope your average audience isn't duped and stupid enough to believe that Episode 9 will be all sunshine and rainbows. Now, before I go, one quick question. How low will the score drop? How low do you think it can go? It's looking like it's going to be the lowest ranked Star Wars film in terms of critical numbers. So get your Price is Right hat on and let's play a little game.